This section of the training is going to be devoted to tips and techniques that we'll be passing along to make you a little bit more efficient with your use of cloth effects in Garment Maker. Now, some of these tips may seem fairly obvious on the surface, but you'll see that they come in handy as you start working with them. Other ones really kind of take advantage of features you may or may not be aware of, or may not fully realize their potential. So this first tip is really kind of planning Max, setting up Max so that it makes your use of cloth effects in Garment Maker more effective. And what I tend to do is I'll go to my Modify panel and I'll go to Configure Modify Sets. And what I tend to do is I'll bring up a series of 8 buttons, and in it what I'll do is I'll put modifiers that I tend to use: Edit, Mesh, Edit Spline, Mesh Select, Relax. I will also add HSDS. I'll talk about that. Now here's Garment Maker. I'll put it at the bottom because it's closest to the modifier stack and easiest to click there. Add the shell modifier. And finally, I'll add cloth effects. Now you can add more tools as you see fit, but generally speaking, I tend to work with many of these mesh selects to pass things up the stack to cloth effects, HSDS on top, and edit mesh on top, edit splines to edit your splines if you need to without destroying the underlying topology, things like that. And I'll go ahead and call it cloth effects and hit save. And then instead of having to drag through it, I'll actually show the buttons. So as I click on something, now I get what I need in order to quickly become effective: mesh select and cloth effects or something like that. I can quickly add things to a modifier stack from these buttons. Now, many users don't tend to like these, but I tend to find that for doing specific tasks like working with cloth effects, you get a little bit better advantage than you would normally. So keep that in mind when you're setting up to work with cloth effects.